All right, good people. I have with me, joining us on Voices with Vision, Brother Joseph Senyanjo. He's a human rights activist, and he's the New York and New Jersey coordinator of the National Unity Platform USA, or NUP USA Incorporated. And we're going to talk to Brother Joseph about this upcoming and very important upcoming conference this coming Saturday, August 13th. Democracy and Security in East Central Africa and the Horn of Africa. Brother Joseph, welcome to Voices with Vision.
Thank you so much, Brother Netfa.
So let's start with the basics first. I think we want to get out of the way the logistics of the conference. Tell people what this conference is about, the concept of it, how they can connect, where they need to go, all that.
Right. Thank you so much. So the conference focuses on democracy and security in East Africa, which is in the title, as I mentioned. But the very basic concept of it is the mobilization against dictatorship, neo-colonial dictators in Africa that are serving the interests of the imperialist powers like the US, Europe, and plundering the resources of the continent and leaving African people in misery. So that's the main concept, how to strategize and building alliances to fight against these neo-colonial powers by utilizing our power together, working together to see that we get some action against these dictators.
Mm-hmm.
So the conference is August 13th, Saturday, August 13th, at Hilton Garden Inn in Silver Springs, Maryland, beginning at 9 a.m. So that is where the conference is, in Silver Springs, Maryland, at the Hilton Garden Inn. And it starts at 9 a.m. And we have a variety of speakers from South Sudan, from the Congo, from, of course, the United States, and South Sudan, Congo, Uganda, and the United States, talking about the role of, for instance, dictator like Museveni of Uganda, who is the biggest neo-colonial agent in Africa, dictator in Africa. He's been in power for 36 years. He's invaded the Congo. He's invaded the South Sudan. He actually is the one that precipitated the genocide in Rwanda, because the Kagames invaded from Uganda, set off the genocide. So he's been involved in a lot of things, and is seen as a big ally of the United States and Europe.
Mm-hmm. And NUP USA is basically, it's a Ugandan organization based in Uganda, but you're broadening this to look at the whole region, and really there's a Pan-African purview to this. You're looking at the fact that the continent in general has to have some unity and work together in order to deal with this question of neo-colonialism. So I wanted to ask you, how do you see Uganda, the geostrategic or geopolitical perspective of Uganda within the context of Pan-African liberation, or the liberation of Africa as a whole?
Thank you so much, Brother Netfa. Uganda, again, as I said, is almost centrally located in Africa, and between east, west, and south. It's a very strategically located and bordering the Congo, which is the richest nation basically in the world, if it were managed properly. The South Sudan, which is also quite rich with oil. Kenya in the east, Sudan, and Sudan, of course, is, as you know, is one of the oldest civilizations in Africa. And so it's a very centrally located, and it's had a lot of interactions with all the African countries. And that Museveni is the central person right now, and he's been in power for 36 years. So he's the biggest agent of Western imperialism in Africa. So by tackling Museveni, we actually advancing the cause against neocolonialism in Africa. So Brother Malcolm kind of emphasized that towards the end of his life. In fact, I just saw a very nice quote from him. Basically, the importance of us as Africans tonight to fight against this neocolonialism is very, very key. As Brother Malcolm in 1959, the New York Times wrote an article and said that the New York to the Amsterdam News, actually Malcolm X wrote a letter to the Amsterdam News saying that people in Africa seem more concerned about the plight of their brothers in America than their own conditions. that Africans saw America's treatment of Black people as a yardstick by which to measure the sincerity of America's of assistance. So there is but at the same time, he noticed that he called on the American Negroes, so to speak, to form spiritual and cultural bonds with the new African nation so that an alliance of power could be formed against the white, end quote, white West. This is the only way Negroes can achieve equality, he said. And then he noted that the major effort of the United States Information Service in Africa is to prevent sympathy by Africans for American Negroes by picturing the Negro's life here as idyllic. You're out of your mind if you don't think there is a racist element in the State Department, Malcolm told the audience. This is a quote. This was an article by the New York Times, kind of quoting Malcolm X's speech to the United Negro Improvement Association. So Malcolm X and before him, Marcus Garvey saw the need of Africans or people of African descent everywhere to unite and work together against neo-colonialism. Right now, at this point, we have the biggest neo-colonial dictator in Africa, Museveni of Uganda, kind of like advancing their interests in the current age, and we need to unite and tackle him, and then other dictators like Biya of Cameroon and Gema of Equatorial Guinea, and see that we actually achieve the move towards a neo-colonial free Africa, and that is where we as Africans together we can get our dignity. For instance, the key thing why this is important is Africa as a whole, it has 1.4 billion people, 1.4 billion people. So if we are united and we work together with our brothers in all over the world, the diaspora, we can actually, the diaspora has the skills, the resources, the technology, the know-how to actually have impact against these neo-colonial agents. Unfortunately, some of our politicians, our Black politicians, are actually working or advancing the cause of the neo-colonialism.
That's right.
And for instance, we have Karen Bass of California. She's the head of the subcommittee on Africa in Congress. We've reached out to her. We tweeted. We said, stop this. She's not responded. Mr. Gregory Mix talks about trade. What trade? What trade when the trade is not benefiting the African people? And so we need to use our power, because these politicians, they listen to their voters, their constituencies. So within the Pan-African activist community, let's target these politicians, whether they're Black or African American or white, and target them on African issues, because ultimately that is where our dignity as people of African descent is going to come from. And Brother Malcolm noted that, Brother Marcus Garvey noted that unless we work together and we kind of liberate ourselves and take control of our resources, because Africa is the richest continent by far, but they're putting us in silos, dividing and conquering us, and Malcolm noted that there's these silos and we need to overcome them. And so this has been a dream, this kind of conference, this collaboration, as I said, is about democracy in East and Central Africa, but the main focus is against neo-colonialism, starting with Museveni of Uganda, because it's the biggest agent of the West. But another big, perhaps even more important element is to start exploring, building alliances to get us to work together to fight against these neo-colonial agents and imperialism within the continent. Thank you.
Right. That's right. So if in unity there is strength, then we must be building the broadest possible unity that we have. And as you said, even people of African descent, where we call them Africans here in the settler colonial United States, have to be forging ties with our people transcontinentally, and especially on the continent of Africa, which we should see as our home, really. But there's a lot to that, brother. I really appreciate it. Let's make sure people know that this is going to be a really good, important conference. You want to go to East Horn of Africa Democracy.eventbrite.com to register. That's East Horn of Africa Democracy.eventbrite.com. I understand there's going to be food and things there. And it's a long conference from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It's this Saturday, August 13th, and it's going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn in Silver Spring, White Oak, Silver Spring, Maryland. That's 2200 Broadbirch Drive, 2200 Broadbirch Drive in Silver Spring, Maryland. And if you check out the Eventbrite link, you should be able to get everything there. And I'm honored that I've been asked to speak at the conference. So thank you, brother.
Thank you, sir. May I add that prior to the conference on Friday, we have a big demonstration.
Yes, please.
And that is very, very important. And we hope anyone who can join us because we are going to the State Department, the biggest neo-colonial agency. We're going to the World Bank again, which is, financing all these neo-colonial adventures. The IMF, which is a twin of the World Bank. We are going to UK Embassy. And that demonstration is at different locations. But if you go to Eventbrite, it tells you the different places we're going to go, the addresses, and the times we're going to be there. So it's very, very important that if you can, any member within the African community within Washington, D.C. area, Maryland area, join us for this demonstration and join us for the conference. It's going to be very, very illuminating, and I think it will give us a great opportunity to start building the alliances and the power that we need to change our situation as Africans worldwide, because basically we're in the same boat, so to speak.
Right, that's right. So, okay, thank you. We were speaking with Brother Joseph Senyanjo, the New York and New Jersey coordinator of the NUP USA. Please check out all the information for the demonstration on Friday and then the conference on Saturday. East Horn of Africa Democracy.eventbrite.com. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, brother. Next.